Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll talk about culture. We'll see many vocabulary related to this topic. We'll see also how can we use modal verbs. Let's start with customs and cultures. Customs means traditions. My father believes that family values are very important. My father believes that family values are very important. Values are the principles and beliefs that somebody holds. We lead a quiet way of life in the country. We lead a quiet way of life in the country. Way of life is a typical routine or pattern of behavior. They loved being in the stadium, soaking up the atmosphere. They loved being in the stadium, soaking up the atmosphere. To soak up is to take time to absorb and enjoy experiences as much as possible. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cause offense. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cause offense. To cause offense is to do something that upsets others. I like to try traditional dishes when I travel. I like to try traditional dishes when I travel. Traditional is a part of old customs or beliefs. We taught our children to follow the same practices as us. We taught our children to follow the same practices as us. Practices are ways of doing things, often traditional. She has a very healthy lifestyle. She has a very healthy lifestyle. A lifestyle means the way a person leads their life. I try to blend in on vacation and not look like a tourist. I try to blend in on vacation and not look like a tourist. To blend in is to look or seem similar to the surrounding place or people. It took me a while to acclimate to the weather. It took me a while to acclimate to the weather. Acclimate or acclimatize is to get used in environment, surroundings, or culture. There are some interesting local customs and dances. There are some interesting local customs and dances. Local custom is something that is done locally as part of tradition. My friend speaks a southern dialect. My friend speaks a southern dialect. A dialect is the way that a language is spoken in a certain area. Countries often have a great deal of cultural diversity within them. Countries often have a great deal of cultural diversity within them. Diversity is a range or variety. Some people believe globalization is bad for local customs. Some people believe globalization is bad for local customs. Globalization is the increasing similarity between different cultures across the world. My parents like children who have good manners. My parents like children who have good manners. Manners are polite or accepted social behavior. The city is steeped in history. Steeped in something is to be completely involved in or surrounded by something. Many religions have rituals that haven't changed for centuries. Many religions have rituals that haven't changed for centuries. A ritual is an action that is always performed in the same way. Many different nationalities were at the conference. Many different nationalities were at the conference. A nationality means people from a nation with a shared culture and language. A lot of stereotypes are false. A lot of stereotypes are false. Stereotype is a fixed, often incorrect idea about what a person or thing is like. She picked up lots of bad habits from her brother. She picked up lots of bad habits from her brother. Bad habit is something wrong that you do regularly. I don't usually eat with chopsticks, but when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Sometimes they finish it, sometimes they say when in Rome. Or when in Rome, do as Romans do. This is the full proverb. When you travel, act as the local people do. Let's see now some modal verbs and how can we use them. Modal verbs share certain characteristics. They don't change form depending on the subject. They are always followed by an infinitive, and their question and negative forms are made without do. Let's start with logical deductions. It can't be Jane because she's on vacation. It could, might, or may be David. I don't know. It should be my dad. He said he'd call me. It must be Tom, since nobody else ever calls. Logical deductions means استنتاج منطقي. We move to the obligation now. For obligation, we use must. You must arrive on time for work. You must arrive on time for work. Permission. You can have more cake if you want to. Or you may take as much as you like. Here you are giving permission to people to do something. Ability. I can speak 3 languages. I can't read Latin because it's too difficult. I couldn't study it when I was at school. We move to request, طلب. Can or could you give me a ride home later? Can you give me a ride home later, or could you give me a ride home later? Would you email James for me, please? Will you look up the office tonight? We move to advice and suggestions. You should or you ought to go to the doctor. You could try the new medicine. For offers now. Can I help you with those? Can I help you with those? Shall I carry some of your bags? Shall I carry some of your bags? Usually we use these when we are offering a service or help to someone. Let's fill in the gaps now using the modal verbs in the panel. We have can't, can, must, should, may, would, ought. The rules say that you must finish before 5 p.m. The rules say that you must finish before 5 p.m. Number 1. I appreciate that it's difficult, but I don't think you should talk to him about it. I appreciate that it's difficult, but I think you should talk to him about it. Number 2. Finally, after months of studying, I can read music. Finally, after months of studying, I can read music. Number 3. I'm sorry, but I'm terribly busy at the moment. Mr. Jones, would tomorrow be okay? I'm sorry, but I'm terribly busy at the moment, Mr. Jones. Would tomorrow be okay? Number 4. I followed the recipe, so it ought to taste great, but sometimes it doesn't. I followed the recipe, so it ought to taste great, but sometimes it doesn't. Number 5. I've tried really hard, but I just can't make these figures add up. I've tried really hard, but I just can't make these figures add up. Number 6. I'm feeling very unwell. May I be excused? I'm feeling very unwell. May I be excused? Let's now cross out the incorrect words in each sentence. Before you drive a car on your own, you must pass a test. Number 1. It's very hot in here. You open a window, please. It's very hot in here. Would you open a window, please? Number 2. This coffee has sugar in it. It be yours. This coffee has sugar in it. It must be yours. Number 3. I don't know when the movie will finish. It not be until after 10 p.m. I don't know when the movie will finish. It might not be until after 10 p.m. Number 4. I help you carry those dishes to the kitchen. Shall I help you carry those dishes to the kitchen? Number 5. My lawnmower has broken. I borrow yours, please. My lawnmower has broken. Could I borrow yours, please? Number 6. I swim very well at all, but my sister is an excellent swimmer. I can't swim very well at all, but my sister is an excellent swimmer. Let's rewrite the sentences here, correcting the errors. You should have took your shoes off when you enter the building. You should have taken your shoes off when you entered the buildings. Number 1. She was the lead singer in the band because she could sing very well. She was the lead singer in the band because she could sing very well. Number 2. Do you would pick me up from work this evening, please? Would you pick me up from work this evening, please? Would you pick me up from work this evening, please? Number 3. The tree looks like it may to fall down soon. The tree looks like it may fall down soon. The tree looks like it may fall down soon. Number 4. If she doesn't study hard enough, she might get into medical school. If she doesn't study hard enough, she might not get into medical school. Let's read now the article together and answer the questions. Student surprises. What surprises exchange students when they stay with British families? More often than not, it is the small cultural differences that shock students the most when they stay with British families. Some students, for example, are surprised that houses have curtains rather than shutters. Other students say they are shocked by the amount of potatoes that British people eat. One student once said to me, "Tonight it could be mashed. It might be fried, or it may even be boiled, but whatever it is, it will be potatoes." The British love of pets can also surprise students, and the fact that pets can sleep inside the house or even in bedrooms can be shocking for some. In many cultures, animals must stay outside. Let's read now the questions and see if they are true or false. Little cultural differences often shock students the most. That's true. Some students are surprised that British houses have shutters. That's false. They are surprised that they have curtains. Number 2. Some students think British people eat a lot of potatoes. That's true. Number 3. One student said that he ate mashed potatoes every night with his host family. That's false. Number 4. In the UK, most animals must stay outside at night. That's false. Most pets, they stay in the house, sometimes in the bedrooms. That's it for today. Thank you so much for your attention and see you soon.